Okay, so Matt did something a little risky. He left me in the kitchen with food and knives to make something, like in the kitchen. So that doesn't happen very often. Usually everybody in the family is concerned that we'll end up in the ER if I'm around knives. But took a cooking class, I think I'm good to go about the knife usage. Today I'm going to be making ceviche. If you've never had ceviche, you're in for a treat. You should try it. If you have had it and you've never made it yourself, super easy. But I had to do the chopping, risky. Okay, so I hate touching raw flesh of any kind. Like, I think it stems from when you're pregnant, that touching raw meat is gross, and that never went away for me. But here, look at me, so proud. 1/2 inch-ish cubed whitefish, along with some tiny scallops. If you can't get the tiny scallops, you just got to make sure that you cut the other scallops in half. So you don't want, you don't want a huge piece of fish. It won't work. Okay, so this is not my favorite part, but I have to juice 3/4 cup of lime. Lime is actually what makes the ceviche dish work. If your limes are not super squishy, it's gonna be really hard to get that 3/4 cup of juice. Look at me sounding like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Anyways, roll them. Roll them as hard as you can on a flat, hard surface. Push, don't worry, you're not gonna hurt the lime. You are gonna make it easier to juice your 3/4 cup. Okay, so I've juiced the limes. Hands are a little bit tired, but I have a couple things to say. One, we use the little tiny, we, meaning me for once, use the little tiny limes. The recipe calls for 6 limes, but even with the big ones, I don't know that you can get 3/4. I mean, maybe somebody with stronger hands can get 3/4 cup of lime juice with 6 limes, but I used 12 of the little tiny ones, and I find those to have a lot more juice, so I'm not quite sure how the fuck anybody could get 3/4 cup of lime juice from 6 limes. And the bigger ones, let's face it, they're harder to juice, right? You would think, right? I can't remember if I said this already, but something you need to know about, well, you already know it, but I'm just to remind you that if you have an open cut and you're squeezing lime and orange, haven't gotten to the orange yet, it hurts. So lots of cold water, rinse it out. Sorry about your luck. One more. Okay, so I finished the limes, and then I mixed in 1/4 cup of orange juice and a teaspoon of honey. The honey's optional, and honestly, I never would have pegged that for a ceviche recipe ingredient, but I'm going to follow the recipe exactly, and we'll see how it is. If we need to take it out next time, we'll take it out. Okay, so I have dumped in the lime juice, lemon juice, and honey into the fish. Did I talk about the fish? We've got scallops. Yep, we talked about the fish, a white fish. We used rockfish. I would prefer sea bass or even cod to rockfish, but for some reason our store was really limited this time, and that's not normally the case for us. The fish, and I think I have juice all over my glasses. I sure shit do. The fish, lime juice, orange juice, and honey have been all stirred and mixed. Every piece of fish is covered with that stuff, which is how it needs to be. And now it's covered and sitting in the fridge for 20 minutes. Life lesson, if you're slow in the kitchen, like I am, you should have chopped all of your stuff beforehand, because now I'm pressured to get this shit done within 20 minutes and I got a lot to do. So I'll come back and talk about it when I'm done, and we'll see what it looks like. So the jalapenos have to be finely diced, and we are now officially pressing the boundaries of my culinary skills. Okay, so I have the diced seeded tomatoes, which I'm not gonna lie, normally I would just say, hey hon, can you pick up an organic can, not the can being organic, chili of seeded diced tomatoes, so that I don't have to do it myself. But I didn't. Pretty impressed with myself. I did seed and dice the jalapeno. It talked about ribbing the jalapeno, but I was too fucking lazy, quite frankly, to go Google it, and I'm sure it'll be fine. The garlic is in there, and what else? Oh, fuck. Onion. I have to dice 1/4 of a small red onion. I don't like onions at all, ever. That's not true. If they're like fried and all crispy, then I really do like them, but not the point. So onions are a pain in the ass to cut. You all know it. Yeah, there's all sorts of, you can wear swimming goggles and blah, blah, blah. I actually am decent at cutting an onion. So my motto is just get the shit over with as fast as you humanly can. Now you're probably wondering, why do you hate onions and why would you use them if you do? Okay, so I hate onions because, in my opinion, raw onions smell literally exactly the same as teenage BO. I'm not speaking from experience, me or my kids, but I have met other teenagers. Yes, I'll wash my hands. I just touched my hair. I have met other teenagers where the BO and the onions, ugh, same smell. But they're going to be in the citrus and with the fish, and it should be fine. I think it's textural at that point. So I know you can't see that, but I made it with less than 4 minutes to spare, but I did. And now I'm gonna mix the tomatoes, onions, garlic, and jalapeno into the fish mixture and set it back in the fridge for another 10 minutes. And then while that is marinating some more, I'm going to chop up my cilantro and a small avocado. Well, okay, it's a big avocado, but I'm gonna slice it into small little pieces. And then I won't add it to Matt's because he's a weirdo. Then the other thing, and if you don't like cilantro, well, we can't be friends. The other thing is you don't put those on until the very end when you're serving it, of course. And you think this is gonna take a long time, it's gonna have to marinate and cook, because like I said, that lime acid is what makes it cooked. So don't make it hours before dinner and expect it to be okay. It's like you make it, you marinate it, it's a total marinating of 30 minutes. It gets served right then and there. Otherwise it over marinates and breaks down the fish too much. Okay, so I'm stirring in the other stuff that we just talked about, and then I'm gonna put it back in the fridge for 10 more minutes. My husband's at rehearsal, and because I didn't read the recipe, lesson number 2, I didn't read the recipe beforehand, I didn't realize it didn't require more work, and so we're gonna have it for dinner, and now we're gonna have it for an early dinner, and maybe just have a snack for like real dinner, whatever. Anyways, then the third lesson is, do you know what a non-reactive mixing bowl is? More importantly, do you know what a reactive one is? I have no fucking idea what happened to our glass mixing bowls. No idea. But what I can tell you is I'm using our little glass, like brownie dishes for, it's the only thing I've ever used them for, little square baking pans. I'm using that because glass is non-reactive. So I've got everything ready to go, mixing it up, put it in the fridge, and then we'll talk in a bit. The other lesson that I want to talk about, if you are like me and you clean as you go because you cannot stand all the shit on the counter, that is one of the reasons you need to allow yourself a little more time and maybe prep beforehand, because that is what is taking me so freaking long. Is I have to rinse every dish, then I have to wash my hands again, and then I chop something, I rinse the dish, and I wash my hands again. So that's one thing. There was something else, but who fucking knows what that was, not me. Salt. The other thing was salt. So I love Himalayan sea salt, but it does taste definitely different than regular salt, table salt. If you're not gonna use Himalayan sea salt, that's fine. It's a little bit, in my opinion, a little bit sweeter than regular salt, but don't use table salt. Use a sea salt. It's fish, use that sea salt. The fish does have salt in it, so I'm gonna stick with the Himalayan, and besides that, it's pink and pretty, and I know it looks like it's in a pepper shaker, but we use it so often that we've got the big old giant rocks, and here we go. Recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of cilantro. Silly people. The fuck is 3 tablespoons gonna do? No, keep it on. But if you don't like cilantro, again, I get that it's a genetic thing. I don't understand. You're missing out, and I'm so sorry you have that genetic thing that makes you not like cilantro. Soap, dirt, which is it? So I decided to use my last little minutes here while it's marinating to take out the trash, because this is just common sense. It is not a life lesson, but if there is butcher paper with fish ickiness on there and onion bits and whatever else is in there, you gotta get that stuff out. And if you didn't know that and you don't have that common sense, you will sure find out within a few hours of making this dish. So, garbage out. Did you know that one of the things that you should not compost is onions? Yeah, you can't compost them. I don't remember why, so you're gonna have to Google it, because, you know, memory sucks. For now, it's getting better. Okay, it's not, but we're gonna work on it. Okay, so it's done marinating for the last 10 minutes, but you need to check and see if it's cooked to your liking. So some of you might like your fish a little more done. For me, it's the scallops, the texture issue. I'm not quite sure how to make sure they're done, because even though I love them, they're kind of slimy. But the rest of it is it's perfect. It's cooked perfectly. So now I have to drain it. Now we're gonna drain it and then put it into a serving dish. At that point, we're gonna mix in the cilantro and mint, if you're weird, as well as the cubed avocado. And that's it. Then you serve it. It's pretty awesome. Like, anytime I can make a dish, that's pretty awesome. I will say it's quite tart. The honey, I recommend the honey, but you know how when they say, oh, a teaspoon of honey, but you only get, I don't know, 1/4 teaspoon of honey off of the little measuring thing? Maybe we need to up that. Okay, Matt is joining the party now. Say hi, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Okay, so now I'm mixing in the cilantro.
Do you want them to be able to see you?
I don't know, do they want to see me? Maybe, maybe not.
Or at least what you're doing? There we go.
Yeah, there we go. And it's so pretty. It's got like red and red onion, which we've already talked about the BO smell, but that's okay. Cilantro now, because my husband is not one of you weird freaks that doesn't like cilantro. He's one of you weird freaks that doesn't like tomato or avocado. But it is pretty. Pretty. Okay, Matt, would you like to serve before I put in the avocado? We know you'll be better at this part. Okay, you'd probably be better about all of it, but okay. I did some work in the kitchen, and I didn't hurt anybody. So some of you would say, oh, that's a perfect dish, hello, to put over salad. You could have salad. No, I mean, you can, sure, go ahead. For me, it's ruining perfectly good ceviche. What do you think? I mean, it's not ruining it, it's diluting it. This is a treat, and it's a healthy treat, so enjoy. Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good. Anyways, let me know in the comments if you make it, what you think. Okay, so it's delicious, first of all. Life lesson number, I've lost track. And I've also just lost track of the life lesson. Oh, shit. See, I knew I'd remember. You know how I told you that I used all the limes? Always buy extra.
I bought like a whole fucking bag.
No, okay, so he wasn't here for all of this. Always buy extra, because you know what would go great with ceviche? Margaritas. And I make a mean margarita too, but we're out. Can you hit the stop button, sweetie?
Sure.
Thanks. Bye.